The first thing Lake Como offered was not beauty. It was structure. The gates opened without spectacle. The black car passed through them as if entering something older than welcome. Cypress shadows stretched long across the drive. Stone held the last warmth of the day. The road curved inward with the quiet certainty of a place that had never needed to introduce itself. This was not arrival as tourism. This was entry. Inside the car, the silence had changed. Amara sat near the window in deep blue, still and observant, her face turned toward the passing landscape. Adrian sat beside her in dark control, posture calm, gaze forward at first, as if stillness itself were part of his tailoring. Neither of them performed the view. That was what made the moment feel serious. Most people arrived somewhere beautiful and immediately became smaller in the wrong way, impressed, animated, eager to be seen seeing it. They did not. The car moved deeper into the drive. Water flashed between the trees in brief silver cuts. Stone terraces appeared and disappeared again. The villa remained partly hidden, as if the estate were deciding how much of itself to reveal before they reached it. Amara did not look dazzled. She looked attentive. That was different. She never looked at places to be impressed. She looked to see what they were hiding. The reflections in the glass moved over her face. Cypress, dusk, fragments of lake light, the first suggestion of old architecture somewhere beyond the line of sight. She did not speak. And Adrian, after a moment, stopped looking at the landscape entirely. He looked at her looking at it. That was the first shift. Not touch, not dialogue, not confession. Recognition through attention. Because he knew her well enough now to understand that her silence was never empty. When she went quiet like that, it meant a place was trying to tell the truth and she was listening for where it lived. The villa appeared once through the trees. Only a glimpse. Old stone, terrace line, water beyond, an entire house holding itself without softness. Not warm, not cold. Certain. That was the word. Certain. Old houses did not introduce themselves. They remained. And this one did exactly that. Inside the car, Amara's hand rested lightly near the door trim. Elegant, still, not passive. Her fingertips touched the interior, as if the body had already understood that a threshold was approaching and wanted to feel the edge of it before the door ever opened. Adrian noticed that too. Of course he did. He was a man who read space first, then pressure, then meaning. And now the meaning was no longer only outside the window. It was beside him. He turned his head only slightly, the smallest possible movement. Enough to acknowledge what he had already known for several seconds. "You've gone quiet," he said. His voice was low enough that it belonged more to the room between them than the car itself. Amara did not look at him. Not yet. Her eyes remained on the window, on the estate, on whatever old thing inside the place had already begun speaking to her. "I'm listening," she said. That was the first true line of the sequence. Simple. Perfect. Entirely her. Not, "I'm looking." Not, "It's beautiful." Not, "I like it." "I'm listening." As if the landscape were not scenery, but language. As if the house were not waiting to be admired, but waiting to be read correctly. That affected him more than it should have. Because once again, what moved him most was not beauty alone. It was the way she entered worlds. Not as ornament, not as audience. As someone willing to meet a place at the level of its hidden structure. The car continued down the drive. The villa grew larger, but the emotional scale moved inward, not outward. That was the strange thing. The closer they came, the less the scene felt expansive. It became intimate instead, as if the house were no longer appearing in front of them, as if it were beginning to enter them. A final turn. The forecourt opened. The architectural line of the estate came clear for the first time. The car slowed, then stopped. But neither of them moved immediately. That mattered, because some arrivals are completed by motion. A door opening, a heel hitting stone, a greeting, a crossing. This one completed itself in stillness first. The engine quieted, the world held. The house waited outside the glass, old and self-contained and entirely uninterested in persuading anyone of its value. Adrian looked at her then, not long enough. "Ready?" he asked. Amara answered without performance. A beat, then softer. "But open the door." That was the line, soft truth, forward motion anyway. And maybe that was the entire shape of her. Not fearless, not untouched, not falsely composed, only willing to tell the truth about what she felt and still cross the threshold. Adrian heard that too. Of course he did. And in the space between her answer and the opening of the door, something in him settled into a darker, quieter recognition. This was not just a destination, not just a beautiful estate, not even just another chapter. Something had already begun. The house had not received them equally. It had registered them differently. She had listened. He had watched her listening. And already the place was no longer only architecture. It had become a field. The door opened, and Lake Como, at last, let them in.